everybody, this is the Curious Lockpicker, and I wanted to show off my lockpicking station. For the most part, what you see in front of you is what there is to see. I do have a small section in the basement downstairs that's dedicated to tool modification. That's where I have my hand files and my Dremel, but for the most part, I do all of my picking right here. This is an old dresser that my wife had lying around, and I repurposed it as a lockpicking desk. On the desk, you'll always find a bunch of pinning trays with locks in various states of disassembly. Right now, I'm working on the ASA Twin 2 that you see on the left, the ASA Alloy Hospitality Lock, and a 7-pin Best SFIC with security pins. This is the most important part of my lockpicking station, the vise. I'm completely dependent on it for picking, and that's the reason I do all of my picking right here. And on my desk, you'll also find my main lockpicking kit. I have a lot of Peterson and Sparrow's picks and tension tools, and I'll probably have a separate video in which I go through the contents of this kit, and I'll talk about why I love having these tools around. I have another dresser here, and the top of it contains a little bit of everything. I have a lot of practice locks that I keep around. This is the 7-pin Ultimate Adversary lock. I have a Sparrow's Cutaway and a Sparrow's Revolver. I also have a lot of these GMS mortise and rim cylinders that I use for practice. Here I have core shims, plug followers, and some other tools that I use for assembly and disassembly. In the first drawer, I have the rest of my tools. This is the Multi-Pick Elite G Pro Dimple Pick set. I think these are absolutely fantastic, and I really do think that they've changed the way that us pickers approach dimple locks. So I think these are really, really fantastic. This kit contains my rakes and bypass tools, and I get so little use out of this that it's a little silly. I'm also not going to open it because I'm a little embarrassed with how many rakes I actually have in here. But nonetheless, I own these tools, and I keep them here. In this kit right here, I have a lot of other picks that I just don't use very often. So it's hard to justify putting them in my main lockpicking kit. I just don't use these very often, so I kind of keep them separate. Below that, I have some pinning kits. So I have 2 pinning kits here that are dedicated for Schlage locks. So I use these very often for the Sparrow's Revolver as well as the 7-pin Ultimate Adversary lock. And between these 2 kits, I actually have about 30 different driver pins. So I have security pins of all kinds, T-pins, serrated pins, spools, mushrooms, everything. And I use them for practice quite a bit, to be honest. So I like having them around. In this drawer, I have what I consider my low to medium security locks. I have quite a few that I have multiples of, and I go through these quite a bit. And when I pick them, I'm going for consistency and speed. So I go through pretty much every lock in this drawer, perhaps once a week, just to keep fresh. And below that are my high security and ultra high security locks. I have a lot of multi-locks, a lot of Medicos, and for the most part, I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I'm hoping that at this point, either a lock that's in here is already on my channel, picked and gutted, and if it's not yet, then I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to do everything I can to get it on my channel as soon as I can. I also have a couple of locks in here that are not considered high security or ultra high security, but for some reason, I just haven't had any luck picking, so I keep them here just to motivate myself. Beyond that, I have one more drawer of interest, and that's right here. This drawer contains some of the auxiliary tools, so I have tin snips for cutting metal stock for making picks. I have screwdrivers, needle nose pliers, calipers, and everything I need to support my picking in one way or another. I also have some tools for making my own challenge locks. I have safety goggles. I've actually been hit in the eye quite a few times with flying springs and sliders and whatnot, so these are good to have. I also have these lock holders, which I got off eBay. I think these are quite nice. And as an aside, I have a bunch of spring wire. A few months ago, I had a brilliant idea of solving the lock-picking community's lost spring issue by making your own springs. As it turns out, it's very difficult to make your own springs, so I haven't actually done that yet. But I think it's a good idea, and I think it's worth exploring. I guess I do have one more drawer. Here I have my Group 2 safe lock that I cracked for my black belt application, and some other tools that I don't really use too often, to be honest. Other than that, that is all I got. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out. Thank you, guys.